Purpose is a huge topic, I believe, in the men's work space, especially around conscious men, and having purpose and finding meaning to this existence that we get to call life. From my perspective, that there is 7.7 billion souls on this planet, and our soul's purpose is just to live life to its fullest expression, to its fullest, just playing full out. And there's so much pressure placed upon men to have purpose and walk with purpose and have a meaningful life and existence. In society, we've been taught that, like, losing your virginity, getting married, buying the house, having the job or the degree or the career, that's what it meant to become a man. But for the first 32 years, I felt so hollow. I was in construction. I was also played a lot of high-level rugby league, and those moments, like, I had meaning, but then when they went away, I didn't have purpose. It was my identities kept crushing and crumbling beneath me, below me. I'd have relationships that would fail, and I'd feel less of a man. And so how was I to find this purpose? So throughout my existence, and this is what I coach men with, is for finding our purpose and having purpose and meaning with life is, first we need to have our values locked and loaded. We've got to have that, and that is our alignment. That is how that is what we fight for. This is what we believe as the individual to be true. And then if we have vision, so know where we're going, then we are a man on purpose. We have a meaningful life because we have our vision, we have our alignment, we have our compass, and we have our direction, compass and map. And then we just walk that path. As we are men and we walk with purpose, there's going to be so many restrictions and fears that come up. And so we have three primal fears: the fear of abandonment, the fear of failure, and the fear of death. And so if we look at the fear of failure, and we have a look at the fear of abandonment right now, because as we grow and rise and we develop our values, it takes about 27 years for us to know and what our values are, and we start looking into vision and where we want to be going as a man, as a family, as a father, as a partner. We start to grow, and then we start to leave the nest. Our parents may have, and society may have, a view of what it means to be a man that may be heavily ingrained in us. And so this path that we're choosing may be this way, yet your friends and family are that way, and society is way over this way. And so you're heading out to uncharted territory, which can bring up the fear of abandonment and the fear of failure. It did for me. I remember when I first made this jump into this purpose work. I was in construction, and I jumped and I took this path. The very first video I put out, my mum sent me a message, and she's like, "Blase, that video was pretty full on." I'm like, "Mum, you haven't seen nothing yet." Because I spoke about my ice addiction. I spoke about all these things that people would use against me to put me down. And the reason I did that is because I had my best mate attack me and put me down for this path that I'd chosen. It was super, super challenging. Super challenging to have my best friend not acknowledge where I wanted to go. And it was a very lonely journey for a while, until I circled up with men like the Men's Fuel Station, men that were like-minded, men that wanted to be on purpose, men that wanted to grow and learn and look inwards and not blame their external environment. And so this was way out of left field compared to my family and my friends. And so I just want to reiterate that this path is a very brave and courageous path, and it's very aligned to your heart. And this is where we want to follow. Follow your heart, not somebody else's version. Build your dreams, and otherwise someone's going to pay you to build theirs. The fear of failure or the fear of abandonment may come up. Like, my friend just attacked me. He attacked me. And that fear of abandonment, we no longer speak anymore. Yet, we both set healthy boundaries about who we are and the purpose that we want to live. When I had him in my life, I was restricting this path of purpose because we weren't in alignment with my mum. She had that comment, and then next thing, we didn't speak much for about 2 years. And when we did speak at Christmas events and everything, it was very black and white. There was she was very challenged about the man that I was growing into. It took her 3 years. I used to invite her to everything. So, hey mum, I've got this coming up if you want to come. No pressure. She finally came to one of my seminars that I was hosting, and she got to see firsthand me in my element, me living on purpose. And when she saw that, she could see how much I loved and my heart was in this. She could see how much my heart was in rugby league. She could see how much heart was in relationships. She could see how much heart there was in construction, because she got that. Men's work, coaching, being of service, deeply trying to help, deeply helping and supporting and guiding people was new to her. She hadn't seen anything like that, so it was unfamiliar. Though, what happened in those 3 years was, through my way of being, she saw something within herself that was attractive. You walking with purpose is magnetizing, because I was then confident of like, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, and not one of you is gonna sway me. Not my parents, not my best mates, not society. This is the man that I'm going to be, and this is how I stand. There's something very confident within that. And so mum started asking internal questions within herself, and then she came to that workshop. About 6 months later, I invited her, and she came to a breath workshop that I was facilitating. So I actually got to facilitate my mum, and she was laying and breathing with my bro and I, and she had this massive epiphany, met consciousness, and then from there has asked me to teach her meditation. She comments on my stuff. At work, she's a manager herself, and she messages me, hey babe, have you got anything to help me with some gratitude practices I can give to my team members? So she's now enrolled into my life, and she's invested into that. But it was just from offering it to her without expectation or attachment that she had to agree with me or acknowledge me. And that first 2-3 years, it didn't fucking worry me, and it still doesn't worry me if she liked my path or not. Because I don't need to be validated by my mum, my dad, or anybody else. And when I catch that I'm seeking validation from others, or I'm comparing myself to others, that is my time to come back inwards. And that to me is a man on purpose. When you're able to be aware of all of these blocks that are going on, and his external happiness his external environment is dictating his internal happiness. And so for me to get back on path, I've got to do the work. Brother, my invitation is to start rising as the tablecloth and walk your purpose and speak with your heart. Don't fear failure. Fear not trying. Because there is no such thing as failure, there's only ever lessons. And you putting yourself out there to your friends, to your family, of like, hey, this is where I'm going. If you'd like to come and experience that, here's the offer. You've opened up the door. And then it's their responsibility to then say yes or no to that. So you're actually gifting them the opportunity to set a boundary. You're gonna keep staying in that fear-bound comfort zone, worrying and living in this fear, or are you gonna transcend that and step through that vision, values, and then you'll have a purposeful, meaningful life, or whatever that you're putting that effort into. So yeah,